Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Center Court Podcast. It's your boy, Willie Hurt.
It's your boy, Jay, all day.
Yes, joining me remotely on the Center Court Podcast. Hey, it's a lot going on. Daryl Morey got fired.
Yes. I'm happy, but still tempered expectations on that. He pretty much wrote his own check on the way out the door.
Yes.
So,
yes, he did. We'll point out how. For anybody who's thinking that maybe the Sixers were kind of hasty and get rid of them, we got receipts here. No, don't you worry. Center Court Podcast.
We got all the receipts. Yes,
all the receipts here. We'll get those for you. Secondly, we'll have this is kind of just more of a reaction to his firing, I'll say, than a normal scheduled pod. We kind of getting this one in to let everybody know. Also, tomorrow, the NFL schedule is being announced, so that you know what that means.
Yeah, so we'll hit y'all with a schedule update, and tomorrow's our announcement as well. So
right, we got a content piece for the people. What do you call it? Not a content. We call it a culture piece for the people. The people in Center Court Podcast are going to mesh out in the culture and in the universe, and we're inviting you to be there. But we're talking Sixers today, and we're also talking Sixers today. So I'm sorry I stumbled over the words there, but welcome to the pod.
That's all good. Yeah, we just want a little Sixers recap and just our feelings on the Daryl Morey situation and what we see for our Sixers moving forward.
Got you. Hey, bro, can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
What am I going to do? Go. 50. 50.
Yes. Hey, bro, it's your man, Willie Hurt, a.k.a. Chill Will, in the building for the Center Court Podcast.
It's your boy, Jay, all day, a.k.a. Big J. Like you said, Center Court Podcast.
Absolutely,
Center Court Podcast, but we talk everything, all Philly sports,
right?
Culture and everything. But
right,
yeah, we'll Sixers recap. Then we're really hurt. They fired Daryl Morey, man.
They got rid of him.
Said it's not a Nick Nurse problem. It looks more like a Morey problem.
It did. And this is, another thing that we were looking at earlier. And I thought the next time we would do a pod, we will be talking about this very same thing. I didn't think they would fire Daryl Morey, but I honestly thought that when they announced that they were looking at everybody, I didn't think he was a part of the looking, if you want the truth. I thought Nick Nurse was going to get grilled cheesed, even if they didn't fire him, but they didn't do that. They ended up getting rid of Morey.
Yeah, what more could you have asked for from Nick Nurse? He went to war with what you gave him. Yeah, right. It's another second-round exit. But, yes. He made coaching adjustments in that Boston series that got him past the Celtics. Right. He just didn't have the horses to keep up with New York and what they had.
Yeah, and we'll get into let's start with the receipts. The Center Court Podcast has the receipts. And Yes, and we'll look at it from this angle. And bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Just walk with me down the street as we talk about this a second. Hey, AJ, what was the two biggest issues that the Sixers ran into when you watched them play in the playoffs this year? What was the two biggest issues, you think?
The biggest issues I saw was lack of depth. You got the first people you're calling up off the bench are Drummond, Grimes, and
Grimes every time.
Yeah, so it's like Grimes is usually your first guy off the bench. So lack of depth and rebounding,
defensive rebounding.
Defensive rebounding was definitely a big issue from what I saw. Even in the series that we won, it was an issue.
And if you throw in a sprinkle of terrible perimeter defense, like Olay perimeter defense. At times, just a hint, a dash of that, and it made for another second round exit. But
what's the word? What's a dollop?
A dollop of poor perimeter defense. But let's look back. Like we said, Daryl Morey being fired is not for nothing, and I know why the Sixers did it. If you look at just three things that I'm going to point to. In 2020, the Sixers had a draft of Tyrese Maxey,
Yes.
Paul Reed,
Yep.
and Isaiah Joe.
Yep.
Now, in and of itself, it's not a spectacular. At the time, nobody lauded it as spectacular. But I thought what you got in that draft were one player who could be above average, if not anything more than that. But I thought you got two depth pieces, two depth players, right? Guys who could actually play at this level and at some point in their lives will be able to play in the postseason. And
contribute in the postseason. Right.
Yeah. And if you look at who the Sixers then took later on as far as drafting, Jared McCain was drafted by the Sixers at 16. And Julian Champagnie, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, playing out in San Antonio, another player. That's four players. That's Jared McCain, Paul Reed, Isaiah Joe, and Julian Champagnie. If those four players were on this Sixers team, this iteration of this Sixers team today, where would we be?
That's instant depth and instant players that can contribute, that actually are contributing for other teams.
Right now.
Now in the playoffs.
As we speak. All four have found roles and minutes on other playoff teams who are currently still active. Now, they all won't be active later on. But think about what that does to a franchise. Now, like we talk off the pod and we heard that there was some malcontent at the Jared McCain trade. But this is a domino effect. You traded for Grimes last year from the Timberwolves, I believe it was. You bring him in, and I think it's after the kid goes down, Jared McCain. Now, I thought he was just like a spot filler until the end of the year.
Yeah, stopgap until everybody gets healthy. And even this season, when Maxey got hurt,
right?
You figure because the excuse was you couldn't find minutes for this kid,
right?
Maxey got hurt for a considerable amount of time when he hurt his finger, and he's out.
Yeah, and who filled those minutes? It was our friend Quentin Grimes. Campaign. That was Cameron Payne. Pardon me.
Now, even if Maxey got hurt after that situation, it's just like in my mind, you still need the depth because even when you trim your playoff roster down, you cut campaign. So even looking forward, if you knew, okay, I'm not keeping this guy, I'm not going to do this, or why not keep the younger player that you drafted in the first round that is still under contract,
right? Instead of worrying if you can get Quentin Grimes back under contract this summer. It's something you would not have to worry about. Your backcourt would be set for 5 to 7 years.
Certain players, when you see them, they pass the eye test. You see them play. You say, you know what? He can play.
He can play this game. Yes.
If it came to crunch time and he can play. He can contribute in the postseason. You can see it in certain players when you okay. And it's just like we drafted all these. What's the other kid we drafted in the second round? Boom.
Janai Broom.
Yeah, Broom.
Unplayable.
Yeah, you see him, and he doesn't pass that eye test to be like, you know what? I think he is. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe we'll do the same thing. Maybe we'll trade him somewhere, and he'll contribute for another team in the postseason 2 years from now. But
that's the receipts, though.
That's the receipts, but I don't see it. But continue, with the receipts from
that's the thing. Here's the next thing. This year it was saving the roster spot for one Kyle Lowry, making him now. Kyle Lowry is probably a great motivational guy or whatever it was they used him for. I'm sure he's fantastic in that role, but I feel like having a coach, player, liaison kind of, motivational guy, whatever his role was, that's a luxury for teams who have depth. Kyle Lowry didn't earn minutes in the playoffs this year, and we emptied the bench a couple times. Exactly. this is another domino. You look at the players who are playing on other teams, right? McCain, Reed, Joe, Champagne. You look at the roster spot that we wasted on Kyle Lowry this year. On a side note, this is something you will only get on a podcast, and me and you talk about this, and I want to let the listeners in on this. The Kyle Lowry signing had a twofold effect. One that people don't really notice. The first one is he held up a roster spot and he was completely useless this year. The second is the number 7 was held up by Kyle Lowry, and the young kid VJ Edgecombe couldn't get the number 7, which he wore in college. So he held him up from that number 7. Yeah, he had. So that's why Edgecombe wears 77. Pay attention to see if because I doubt that Kyle Lowry's here another season. I sincerely doubt
he
it.
should retire from this season. So
right. So we'll see if Edgecombe switches to 7. Keep an eye on that. I just something to keep an eye on. That's another thing. And there's one last piece to this receipt puzzle for the indictment of one Daryl Morey. You ready for this last piece, bro? And this is a real simple piece. It's the contracts that he did hand out. The Embiid extension. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I was on board with the Embiid extension when it was signed, okay?
At that point in time.
At the time when it was signed, yes, I absolutely was. I'm not going to sit here and hold the fans. That'd be dishonest. And Willie Hurt ain't dishonest, right? However, that's from a guy who's a fan. Willie Hurt a fan. You know what I mean? I'm not in the building every day seeing what the guy is doing as far as rehab, as far as training, as far as this, as far as that. I can only make a decision from the outside looking in. So, of course.
But he wear that Sixers jersey with the jersey with the Sixers on the front. So I'm a root for him.
Yeah. I gotta.
But I'm going to be honest. But we're going to be honest.
I gotta be. Right? Now, he signed Embiid. Then he signs Paul George to this 4-year, whatever the number is, right? Now you're locked in with both players.
Paul George to 2028, Embiid to 2029.
Right. Now, there's light at the end of the tunnel as far as the Embiid thing goes, I believe. I believe that Embiid's next year, and it sounds crazy, I think this summer coming up, in summer of 2026, he'll be able to rest and rehab because there's no injuries kind of on the horizon for him. He played through some stuff there at the latter portion of the season, but I think he was good after that. Like, I think with a week or two of rest, he'll be fine. And he may go into the next season and actually look healthy for once.
Yeah, there should be no major off-season surgeries. There shouldn't be any.
Right.
I mean, a scope may be okay, but it shouldn't be no rehab or anything like that. There's
no significant injuries.
There's nothing to do but rest, rehab, keep your body healthy,
and train for the next season. So, we'll keep an eye on that also. That's another thing to keep an eye on. See if Edgecombe changes his number, and we'll see what Embiid looks like at the start of the upcoming season. Will he be a form of what he was in years past?
But we got one more thing. We got another receipt on Morey.
Yeah, what you got?
The James Harden trade. Both of them. Bringing him in and sending him out.
Go ahead.
We took it on the head on both ends, bro. Sending Ben Simmons out to get James Harden in.
We gave up 2 picks to get him. And stuff.
Has a great relationship with James Harden. Okay, no problem. He came here, he did produce, but we know James Harden's MO.
Right. Second round deficiencies. Yes. Right.
Then when he gets, it's everybody else but James. You know what? I want out. I don't want to be here.
Right.
Next team.
Right. Now, he did the same thing he did. James Harden did the same thing he did at his previous stops. I want out. Now, we gave up all Ben Simmons plus draft capital to get him. Then when we traded him out of town, it seems like we didn't get the better of that trade either. It seems like we lost trading for him, and we lost trading him away. Another indictment for your boy. one Daryl Morey. And maybe there's a Sixers fan out here who like Daryl Morey. Now, I don't know who, I think most people, because there's no like backlash, I think most people are good with this. Like most people, there was something that Daryl Morey did that kind of fucked with a lot of people. You know what I mean?
But somebody out there might have agreed with a couple of these moves. I don't know. Maybe one of those picks that we got for sending James Harden out of town, maybe one of those picks was from VJ. I have to look through and see.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I didn't see too many wins we got out of a lot of stuff that because like all the players that he did bring in, the assets that we did have, I see these players now shining for other teams. So it just seemed like we're in Cancun,
right?
And these guys are all over the league still hooping.
And I thought his draft record was decent. Now, I thought his draft record was okay. And there was some nitpicky stuff there. What's that?
I said the draft history was okay, but most of them aren't here.
Yeah, yeah. How about that? It didn't matter for a guy who had a decent track record as far as the draft. All those players aren't. They're not here. That is true. You're right about that. And I just have nitpicky stuff as far as like his draft track record. So if you catch me on the street, you can ask me about what my nitpicking Daryl Morey's draft record. So, but Daryl Morey's out. Now I know you had looked around and saw some guy like candidates to take over as GM who you thought were worth having a look at. Who did you see out there that you thought might be worth having a kick of the tires, so to speak?
All right. So first, I looked at if Vince Roseman might be available.
Vince Roseman.
At the end of the season, OKC. They have him under some weird title over there, but
okay.
He's a Sam Hinkie disciple. He came up under Sam Hinkie.
The NBA don't like that action, so he already gets a vote from me. Yeah.
So I think he was Sam Hinkie's scouting coordinator back in the day. So
okay, now he gets for that reason. I like him already.
That reason alone.
Yeah, that reason alone. I like him. And so the NBA is going to hate him. And if Adam Silver hates him, that makes me like him. So, yeah.
Right. So, we got Nick Ewing. I think he's a Golden State, and I think that's where he's at now.
Okay. Now, he doesn't have any ties to Sam Hinkie, does he?
He's a scout over there in Golden State. So, it was part of, putting that team together since I think around 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
No Sam Hinkie ties, right?
No Sam Hinkie ties.
Okay. All right. Well, all right.
Now, we also have the option of in-house. Now,
my least favorite option.
Myers. Yeah, we got Bob Myers in-house, and he helped also build that Golden State thing. So
yes, now
is part of his camp as well. So kind of bringing him in, those two guys could have kind of worked hand in hand to kind of do the same thing.
Now, Bob Myers, I like Bob Myers. I think he should probably just do the gig. Hiring somebody to do the gig at this point, I don't think is worth it. Bobby Myers is if I had to choose, I would tell him to figure it out. Like, you do the gig, tell people what to do and run the show. Get me at least to the goddamn conference finals. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree with that.
There's realities about the roster we're going to have to face. No problem. Don't worry about that. We're okay with that. However, there are places that you can improve on this roster. And we have to stop. We got to stop the bleeding, And
that's why. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you could go ahead.
No, I was just going to say because that's why I kind of like if they were to hire outside, picking Matt Ewing because they're kind of the same mind. Because like you said, they both came from that Golden State situation. So it was almost like the fact they'll still having almost like Bob Myers, they're being in the same room, but almost of the same mind, because they probably think similarly.
Yeah, similar
on
philosophy.
how to build a team, philosophy on how to build a team, and what they need.
Right. Well, speaking of how to build a personnel on the floor, I got a couple suggestions on how we can get that done. In the last pod, I went into like player wise, but I think this time I want to stick to like archetypes, for improving the roster next year. So we talked about guys who can improve the executive position. You just talked about those guys. If you had to choose, who was your number one if you had to choose right now? Like you said, Uran, that's your number one choice?
Yeah, if we had to go outside, I would probably go Uran. But like you said, if they decide to go in-house,
Myers.
Like you said, Bob Myers, right.
Okay. So on the floor is our next way to fix the Sixers. And I think you need 3 players. Now, the importance of these 3 players is up to the listener to decide. When you see me, talk to me about it. But I think you need 3 players. And I'm going to name archetypes, not so much a player in specific, but these are the type of players you need. The first player being, go ahead.
That's what I dig.
All right. The first player being is Kristaps Porzingis. Okay. Kristaps Porzingis is the type of player, has the type of style of basketball that will be suited on this team, and I'll tell you why. He is a threat to stretch the floor from the 4 position, and he has the ability to play with his back to the basket when needed. He also is a defensive rebounder and shot effector. So all skill sets that we sorely need on this team. Now, do you get Kristaps Porzingis, the person? Not exactly sure I would do that, but he is the type of player you need, the first one. The second one is, hear me out, this is going to sound weird, but the second player you need is Andre Drummond. I know this sounds weird, but I don't want Andre Drummond. All right. The current iteration of what Andre Drummond is not what the Sixers need. The Andre Drummond of early Detroit years, the 2010 Detroit years, that's the Andre Drummond we need. A defensive player who's a shot blocker, rim runner, who can clean up the glass at both ends of the floor for putbacks and can set screens and can is not a total liability on the offensive end, even if it's just collecting rebounds on putbacks, even if it's just finding his own offense from snagging rebounds on the offensive glass. Somebody that can close out possessions. We do a decent job of protecting the perimeter, only to have it fall apart at the last second because somebody gets close enough and he lays the ball in, or takes a last-second shot, which leads me to my third archetype. The third type of player that we need is a Josh Hart, a wing who can shoot, defend, and be a willing and able passer. Just a 3-and-D wing who's good enough at catching and shooting, and locking up his guy on defense, and helping out on the glass when you can, and just doing all the dirty work on defense.
Yeah, Josh Hart. Yeah, he's kind of just like that.
The energy
kind of
guy,
Swiss Army knife. Yeah, energy guy, kind of Swiss Army knife type of player that can does everything well.
Right.
Doesn't have to exceed at everything, but takes advantage of all the opportunities he can, like a willing rebounder, like you said. Rebounding, that's all that's all it takes is want to do. You got to just go out there, box out, get it. You knock down the open shot. Make the smart pass, make the heavy play. Hustle. We don't have we really don't have a player like that
Well, we don't. We kind of do. Kelly Oubre kind of reminds me of that player. But I think I would like Kelly Oubre, who is like a little bit better, higher 3-point percentage shooter, if that makes sense. Somebody who maybe is a little taller, who can affect shots a little bit more at the rim and box out a little better. Same high energy, same motor, just maybe a little better 3-point shooter, maybe a little taller. So those are the three archetype players that the Sixers could bring in, who would immediately improve the roster. Now, this is, of course, under the assumption that you find a way to keep Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes. You add these two of these, or at least all three of these archetypes, at least two. I think they could add probably, 12 wins to the roster next year.
Yeah. And me, sorry for me saying, I forget Kelly Oubre, but, I like what he brings to the team, like even, that aspect. But he would bring so much more on, like, second team if he could come off the bench. Like, if you had somebody better at that 4 position.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And not even per se so much better, but somebody at the 4 position that played, he knocked down that shot a little more consistently. Like you said, more that younger Andre Drummond type, somebody that's going down there, put some work in down in the paint a little bit. You know what I mean?
And right, and that type of player who is athletic, and I want him to. The type of player is flexible, and Clint Capella comes to mind also. Yes, like a Clint Capella type of player. That improves your team twofold, because now you got that player that can start, and having Oubre coming off the bench, now that gives you depth on the team, because even if the spot starts, you can still start Kelly. Right.
So
right,
it works out twofold. Yeah,
and the ultimate archetype, I guess, is Evan Mobley from Cleveland. So if you go Evan Mobley, Clint Capella, and you go out on the wing, you just need a Josh Hart type of player. Just somebody who can, from the wing, hit shots, defend, that type of it immediately upgrades the team. Now if you
what was it? Isaiah, what's his name? Isaiah Joe?
Isaiah, yeah, that was his name.
My bad.
Oh yeah, that was his name. That was his name.
Yeah, I think that's what he does.
Just a guy who can hit shots, defend the 3-and-D wing. Somebody who can play minutes while your starters get a rest, and then can. Right. But hey, again, these are the receipts that got Daryl Morey out of town. Now, of course, the best way for the Sixers to move forward and really get this team back into contention, and maybe even championship contention, is to hire us as GM and assistant GM. Of course, how would it feel being the assistant GM?
I say let's go for it, man. Two minds are better than one.
Yeah, right. They wouldn't even.
You got checks and balance. One of us gets too powerful, hungry, it goes to one's head. We got the other one to check the other one.
Yeah, you gotta have it. But
as soon as you start talking, let's trade for LeBron, I'll be like, no, Will.
Now hold on now. Hold on. Getting LeBron at the right number wouldn't be, he takes so. Now, I mentioned, what's his name? I mentioned Josh Hart. How much better is LeBron James than Josh Hart today? Yeah. Yeah. It sounds crazy until you think about it. You go to the draft, get yourself a rangy forward, and see what LeBron talking about for, it's a championship run. I think we got a run in us, dog. Man, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know, man.
You wouldn't do it?
That's when checks and balances.
Yeah. So you would sign Josh Hart, but not LeBron James. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, I probably would. Yeah.
What? Yo, you wildin', dog. Yo, you are wildin'.
I gotta think about the future, man. You talk about buying.
Wow. No, this is a championship. Yeah, for a championship run. Yeah.
You just roll it.
Now, I'm not saying LeBron takes the money. Now, I'm not saying because he's an unrestricted free agent. If
I got two players that's only going to give me 50 games in a season.
Yeah. But think about if you can get them to
3. That's 3 because I still got Paul.
Paul George, yeah.
So that's.
Hey, listen, man. I think you could put yourself inside of a championship window. Now, there's no way on God's green earth LeBron plays for veteran minimum. That don't happen, you know. But if we playing fantasy basketball, bro, it makes sense. He get the minutes. He wouldn't have to go crazy as far as you get the starts and then you can sit down. We can play you 12 or 15 minutes a game, and then when the playoffs come, you know what to do. You know what to do. Listen, I don't know. You quiet over there, big dog.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, but I don't know.
God, I'm surprised you want Josh Hart over there.
Y'all let us know what we think, because Willie hurt me going off on these.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Listen, it sounds crazy until it works. That's what I mean. How many other veterans going onto the market this year have championship experience, playoff experience, championship experience, number one option experience? Playoff battle tested, how many guys how many free agents are like that this year? Oh, okay.
It's gonna sell tickets.
Huh?
It's gonna sell tickets.
And it's gonna put butts in the seats. I'll be there. It's gonna put asses in the chairs now. I don't know how you lose on this one. LeBron wouldn't. You'd have to do the other stuff first, and then convince LeBron. Like, bro, I'll give you $10 million. I got the other pieces in place. You be the the crown and jewel. You could do it. But it's
pay everybody.
Listen, I could make it work, man. I definitely could, for sure. And LeBron could influence the archetypes. Like, hey, bro, we need these type of players. These 3. Who you suggest? And had him, yeah.
I say bring. Now you know what? I say bring LeBron in.
Why? What changed your mind?
Bring Brian in as a GM.
Yo, just he be a GM. He can play out his last year here. He like, yeah, we'll give you, then we'll give you some ownership pieces. I don't know, dog. That's craziness. Boy, man. I mean, but
I'm still love LeBron. Bring LeBron in. Let Brian GM the Sixers. All our trades will go through. We'll get a lottery pick.
Oh no, I got to push back on that. LeBron could come here and play his last year, but I'll GM this thing. You let me do the general managing around this motherfucker, but that'll work for me. Oh man, but hey, listen, tomorrow's the big announcement, dog. The big announcement is tomorrow. May 14th, the NFL schedule is released. And May 14th is the day you find out about the podcast party. Where, the where's, the whens, the hows, the who's. It's going to be a big thing. I want everybody to come out and join us out there. And we are going to have a good time. And you tell a friend to tell a friend about the Santa Clara podcast.
Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
We're going to have good vittles. We're going to have a good time. Everybody above 21 for the whole family. Come on out, man.
Bring your auntie.
Bring that auntie over here, girl. Bring that auntie, bro. It's crazy. Yeah, bring your auntie, man. Bring your mom and them. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to party. We have a good time, bro.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. But now you know how to fix the Sixers. If they made us GMs and you did this stuff that we just talked about, at some point, something we say is going to ring with a listener. It's like, Dad, you know what? The boys over there had said that time. You know what I'm saying? On that pod I listen to sometimes with those crazy dudes on there.
Something we said going to come true. It has already come true.
Yeah, a lot, right. But, hey, man, make sure y'all tune in.
All the time.
Just most of the time. But make sure y'all tune in, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate y'all. It's your boy, Willie Hurt.
It's your
AKA
boy
Chill
Jay all
Will.
day.
Yes,
My
yeah.
bad. It's your boy Jay all day. Thanks for y'all for tuning in. Thanks for all the listeners. Everybody, like.
Yeah, we're gonna hit y'all with another podcast Sunday. No matter of fact, we back with y'all tomorrow with the announcement.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, and then we probably be back Sunday.
Schedule to something else pop up.
Until then. Yep. Until then, one more question, bro.
Shoot.